much. A nade around the corner, but it's Elite who actually falls to Fidan. And it's looking like the Saudi squad, the home contenders, are going to pick up a nice 4 elims here. Start off their air angle number 2 with the fight in the log, but the Iron Side barrel, they're not going to connect instantly, but look at the angle already collected from Fidan. And, well, that's a nice way off to start your game. It just pains me to see Chile going out earlier, so early again.
Yeah, it's the same thing for Jordan, right? Chile just, they can't seem to catch a break in the early stages of almost, I want to say, half of these games as well. Getting caught up in rotations, getting picked apart one by one, and then just not winning the duels on top of that is just going to result, unfortunately, in a rather disappointing performance up until this point. But, man, they've shown us as well that they definitely deserve to be here, right? In the regional qualifiers especially. And Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, these are some really important elims. These are some really important points, especially not for contention. We said it before. I think that ship has sailed. But grabbing yourselves a couple of extra spots to get towards more prize money on the overall leaderboard. That's what their main goal has to be right now. And they're playing like it is as well. Super aggressive in the early game, taking a lot of initiative as well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. Maybe if they started this a tiny bit earlier, they would be up there with Ukraine and Turkey and the rest of them.
You love to see it. And you love to see it when you have a game like Ukraine did in the last one, where they don't really make it out of their compound. They can't really make it into late game, but at least they've grabbed these 4-3 elims in the early game, right? That makes the game so much more bearable for them, keeps them in the race. Same here for Brazil, but for Brazil, this cost them a lot of time. This is not a fight they chose to take. This is a fight that just walked up on their doorstep, and a fight that is now sitting inside a hallway with a Tommy gun. So, gonna cost them a lot. Making that bridge cross later on will take some time as well. If they get away cleanly with 4 players and 4 elims, then you can start arguing that it might have been worth it.
Yeah, you can. But that needs to happen first. We've seen, even in the grand finals, that with Flycrew, for example, last round, perfect example, that these types of fights don't always go your way. It's very easy to lose a player like that. Especially if you make that a 3-on-2 inside some of these puzzle buildings. They're so incredibly dangerous.
One nade.
Oh, Laith takes down 1, takes down 2! Are you kidding me? That's exactly what we were talking about. And now that situation has turned upside down. Laith is going to get one of these flushes as well. What a nade, by the way. But he also changes the angle almost immediately and is able to take the flush from downstairs. Now 7 with a good trade. There's another nade coming in from Laith, but he sees him early enough. Brings it back to a 3-1. I think he just got caught off guard from the other side. Right, yeah, he got caught off guard. He exited the building on the other side. Player was there. I think Adrian was there, and Brazil is diffusing the situation. But again, they've lost the player. That's exactly what we didn't want to see.
And it's so hard. It's so hard to clear these buildings. Like, it's borderline impossible to stay clean in this, and they do not manage to do so. Jordan with a nice last stand in that round. Circle, however, has gone northeast. Circle has gone the way of Romania, but also Ukraine knocking on the door here. They're going to take one of the best positions in the zone, as a lot of teams still in transition here. Some teams still in the blue, making their way on through to a phase 2 that has some space open now, with 9 players already going out before that phase 2 pop. There's a little bit more space than there maybe could be, but it's up to debate who's going to make the best out of this. I like the Ukraine position. They're going to take some high ground here in the library, get a lot of information around them, and get one of the power positions for themselves.
Starting off here in Yaz. Not sure if that's what they really wanted for when they originally entered this edge, but one thing's for sure, Turkey definitely didn't want Ukraine that close. And Solkay, he's being forced into the building now. This is interesting. This is interesting. If he loses his card there, Turkey might just be forced to bail him out. And then maybe we have a fight early on phase 2 with the top contenders for the entire tournament. And that would just be an absolute banger of a fight to watch.
He knows as well that he has to leave. He knows as well that he has to get out of there. First aid, smoke in the car. He might smoke the approach as well to try and cover some ground before he gets visible, but he wants to get out of there. He knows he has to get out of there fast. He's caught on an island, and he's known to be a solo as well, which makes the situation so much worse. So he's going to work on getting out of there. Is he going to be successful is the other question. Somebody from range could easily pop his tires and leave him stranded there. And it's looking a little bit like he might be making his move. Yeah, I can see him on the minimap making the move. He's already taken fire, though. He's already under the heavy eyes of Ukraine. If they pick that up, I think they've put him down to 1 HP already. If they pick up that frag, they know as well. This is an important point for us to take. It's looking like he's been forced back.
Has to take a different pathing now. Indonesia, in the meanwhile, the team that has given us crazy performances in the last 30 minutes. One fight to another, and they are chasing. Look at this. This is aggression that we haven't seen before. They take down one of the Myanmar players, and they bully him out of their rotation path. This is incredible scenes that we're witnessing. This is absolutely disastrous for Myanmar at the same time, but also incredible for Indonesia. Where was this? To put it into your words, where was this the last 2 days? They spot a weakness in that rotation path, and they even drive down the car. They hunt him down.
No way.
What is happening? Lewis gets taken down just like that. That is Indonesia on the hunt for any survivor from that rotation up towards the eastern side. And there was no need for this, but they wanted to do so anyways.
I'm loving it. And like you said, right? Just catching out players that can't really do anything about it. Myanmar not ready for that level of aggression, not ready for this craziness being thrown at them and instantly punished. And this is why I was so hesitant to say that Myanmar has a shot at first place, because things like these just happen. It's not even like they made a big mistake here. They were just wrong spot at the wrong time, had the wrong team around them. And just like that, they've missed a fourth of their chances to close that gap. And it's not looking likely. Once again, I think they can be so proud of what they've achieved so far, but not really counting them as a favorite for winning or maybe even second place in this tournament anymore. Egypt, once again, they pick up an early frag. They know when they can. It's just been the late game ones that haven't always been perfect for them.
Egypt, last round was cut short, a bit too early for my liking. Especially considering that we said they usually have really strong games when they start in phase one to, you know, get some eliminations going, get some team fights going. This time around, it's happened as well. Not to the degree of the last round, but at least 1 point has already been secured. So them being in the forest is not only a strong position, but also gives a lot of space, a lot of opportunity to get into potential fights from here on out. But a lot of teams outside of obviously Indonesia are taking things slow now. They realize every single step, every misstep they take now could potentially cost them thousands of US dollars.
Crazy area of the map as well to be taking fights in. So much cover, so many different ridges, so many positions you could find an enemy in. Both of these teams are taking it with a little bit of caution. No full-on aggression just yet. Kyrgyzstan quiet on the south. In a little bit of a lower ground dip. Pretty much just waiting for this phase 4 to pop to tell them where to go, I believe. And they'll have to see what they do with this. Another team that can sort of salvage their tournament here. Another team we've talked so much about. With 25 seconds. This could be an important shift for them.
Long range scouting. But I don't think Egypt's going to find much. In the meanwhile, Morocco has lost a player. One of the teams that I said it before, I'm the most disappointed with. Unfortunately, I love these guys to death. They've had lots and lots of fun at the African Esports Championship. The reason for being here. Have had an incredible performance there. And just really sympathetic players overall. But just can't seem to get it going. Losing players here and there. The fights haven't been as convincing as they have been just 2 months ago in Morocco. And if you only have so many chances, if you
they want to make the play.
have 18 games and you kind of throw away 12 of them, it's just, it's not going to be enough to really make a comeback happen. Ukraine now finally starting the fight that we've been waiting for so desperately. The two Titans are getting head-to-head here at the Yas area. Both of these teams need to move to the next phase, but one is at a bigger disadvantage than the other one, and I'd say that is Turkey.
Havlik wants to make this work. He wants to make this happen. He's forced in a fight that will push him away from the zone, just because he wants that kill point and he wants their back clear as well. He doesn't want to waste any more time. As you can now see Bulgaria pulling up into this. They might not be aware what they're just stepping into here.
And I think this is really interesting. I cannot see Ukraine staying here unless they know it's Turkey. Don't you agree? I feel like they know this. I'm not sure how, because I haven't spotted any knocks from both of these teams in the elimination feed. But I'd argue Ukraine has better options than this, and this is not like them. They usually are very quick in the rotate. They're quick on the circle pop. They tend to go for power positions. This is not one of them.
They might want to play their side of the street. They might want to play out very late out of their buildings and just play that ridge line. But even then, like you said, I think it's a little odd that they're committing so much. Like you said, I was thinking the same thing, but I don't think they can know. I don't think they can have that information.
I don't think so either.
Especially now with Bulgaria pulling up, that's going to give them a lot of fake info of like, oh, okay, that's probably a teammate trying to help, right? That should give them basically the wrong idea, but they can in the end sit him out. They can sit Solkai out here, but they don't want to get stuck in the blue. They don't want to waste time. They don't want to go that slow, right? So they would love to deal with this, and they tried, but they don't want to overstep either, and I respect that. I think there's a good bit of just patience there to realize, okay, I've made the play and it didn't work. Tulikan knocks Scarface on the other side of things. That's a different Turkish player, and that's a big scalp to take. That's the top fragger of the Turkish squad taken out. And with Solkai so isolated, this might be a big development on our northwestern side of the circle.
And one of the strongest fragger in this lobby so far up until this point. Based off of the player stats, he's been leading Turkey in terms of eliminations. And he's now been taken out. And that is the information that we waited for. Ukraine now knows who they have in front of them. They know it's Bulgaria on the left-hand side, and it is Turkey towards the right. And that should seal the deal on whether or not they will rotate out early. Or the decision on whether or not to wait for the rest of the teams out there to be pushed into them. I think that decision has now been made. And meanwhile, Egypt, we were talking about it, really strong position. That now comes to fruition as more teams are getting pushed into the forest. The sightlines are just really strong, especially if there's more than just one team in there and you kind of have to share your space. And that means more and more frags being picked up. This is the second already, the third one now, maybe the fourth one with this. But it actually is being picked up, I think, by someone else just barely. Maybe that was France.
He actually dies to jumping out of the vehicle there. He actually denies the them, doesn't give them over the point, but it's a game to forget again for Morocco. Look at the sprays coming out. A single Pakistan player just lays waste to the team in front of him. In the meantime, we also see Kyrgyzstan going out. Another quiet game for them. Brazilian players on the south side just overpowering them. There's a lot going on in this game, and it's Solkai going down to the blue zone here. He stayed in the blue so long, trying to be a problem for Ukraine. He actually does get taken out in the process. So it's just a two-man for Turkey left. And Ukraine might want to peek on over this. Oh, Turkey's leaving. They're not sticking around. They know they're a weakness here. They know they're a team that might get aggressed on very quickly. And there it is. They're getting the cars ready. They're making a play ready. Whenever that res comes through and the first aids come out, Ukraine is going to have to send it somewhere. And they might just choose the dip right in front of them because it has just been completely evacuated.
Exactly. This is good play by Ukraine now. This is exactly what they wanted. You were indeed right. They were waiting for this dip no matter what. And that obviously is an easy decision if you have no one right in front of you. Now Indonesia in the compound. They've been unbeatable for the last hour. Let's see if Mongolia can make a stop on that impressive performance. If they can pull the break, it's Egypt chiming in from the distance, but that frag is being secured by Indonesia as well. And he's got the MG to top it off as well. That's like the worst combo you could potentially imagine when it comes to someone running into a compound. Oh, that's missing now. It's level 3 West, to be honest, but I'm not even sure that's needed. Vasriel takes him down with the S12K. Suki hits the ground, and there's another elimination being secured by Indonesia. They are just plowing through.
In the meanwhile, though, we have Romania engaging on Ukraine. We've seen a flush already come through. I think it was Havlik being the one lost there. Now Oldboy knocked to Saudi Arabia. This is not looking good for Ukraine either. We said Turkey is in dire straits, but Ukraine is on the cut as well. as all this map is just blowing up here. Felix, nades are coming out. Egypt getting knocked to France, but the rest of France is getting absolutely slaughtered in these smokes. Oh my. The whole map is falling apart at this point, but I'm just keeping my eyes on Ukraine because they are not getting the better end of the stick here either. 2 players left standing for them.
Ukraine, it's a tough edge. It looked easier than it probably was, and that gives Saudi Arabia now the opportunity to make it 11 eliminations. They have woken up from the short slumber they've been in. Unfortunately, we have to put it that way. It's been a couple of rounds where we've, more than just a couple of rounds, unfortunately. It's been the entire day yesterday, but they've just not really taken the chances that they've been given. The circles were not necessarily against them. I've got to put it like that. They've just not been proactive enough and haven't used their chances enough. And they should be up there. The 3 players of the power roster. In the meanwhile, that's so bad for Ukraine. Turkey is starting to activate. That's 2 knocks, but 1 trade.
Turkey's been getting kills here, eliminations on all sides. They're trying to claim the southern side of the Heaven compound for themselves. They're going for the res now. They've still got France in their way, but Mr. Blue, he's stuck against it, stuck against the blue wall. Ukraine on the other side, they're trying to make something work. They don't really know where to go. Romania on the one side, Saudi Arabia on the other. 10 elims for them already popping off completely. Ukraine needs to salvage just a few points here. They don't want to let this slip away, but what can you really do? Maybe wait for the zone to close on in a little bit further. But you can see Indonesia, they're running out of their own compound. They're trying to close down this northern edge. They're just farming everything they can right now.
Yes, and it works out. That's the crazy part. We have almost 30 eliminations between 3 teams in the current leaderboard. That is completely absurd. Everyone is picking up frags. And, well, not everyone. It's completely the opposite, actually. It's only Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, and Brazil. But everyone else has to be scared of them picking up any more frags. So that's once more going to change up the leaderboard. And for any team in the mid-pack of things that wants to grab more money, that's going to mean big, big problems. Solis has now found another knock. It's a nade against one of the players, I think, inside the building, inside that garage building. But they know themselves, like, they can't commit to this just yet. They have another player, and that is Mr. Blue on the edge that has to move any second now. And they surely want to wait for this.
This is looking so good for them, though, as well. They can wait for France to go out here, and then they've already decimated Mongolia to just 1 player left. So they can very freely play the southern side of the compound here, not worrying about anybody from the compound pushing on out into their side. Should give them an access to the very, very late game here, as we've been wondering what Ukraine can do with this. Turkey has a very straightforward path into this. All they have to wait for is Mr. Blue to go out, and they finally pick him up themselves as well, pushing themselves up further on the elims. As yes, they'll have to deal with Indonesia at some point, but they should be able to dodge this fight for quite a while here, Felix.
Yeah, I think so, Evo. I think they are able to dodge this. There's still lots of space all around these edges, actually. It's way more than we usually see in Phase 6. Usually everyone has sightlines on each other to some degree, but even Saudi Arabia, I think, with how much space they've been given. Look at this west side, completely entirely clear. Actually, that part of the map is completely gone.
That's big.
Has lots of playing room. And interestingly,
pakai es pinjam aja. Nah, keuntungan pakai es pinjam ini limit hingga 50 juta, tenor sampai 12 bulan.
That's an elim and a placement. The good thing for Ukraine is they're still sneaking on in on this, but it seems like a matter of time until they get cleaned up here. It seems like a matter of time. Tulika is trying to go for some sort of information, also showing a little bit of presence with the car, making Saudi Arabia realize, okay, these guys are not just proning it out, they're still looking to play the game. But where do you end up going? I think the smokes are coming on out. I think the breach from Saudi Arabia might be coming on out. I'm not sure where they want to go with this. I'm not sure where they're taking their play, but one of them is already knocked by Indonesia. This is the saving grace for Ukraine here. This was their biggest threat, and it's just gone the other way. XL pulling up. Indonesia's pulling up.
I think so, right? I think that's that play, and that's one of the only plays that they really can do. But I don't think they're committing to this fight just yet. I think they know that they have Saudi Arabia on the other side, and as soon as they start this, they will get third parties. I wouldn't overcommit in their shoes, and I don't think they're doing it either. Yeah, they're just taking that space, that map control, to push Ukraine towards the edge and not give them any breathing room when it comes to the next phase. And that next phase, ladies and gentlemen, is going to pop any second now. And we might have a better idea on who's really going to take this. This, I would say, still favors Indonesia heavily. But we're going to have to take a look at how the sidelines really are. There's a couple of rocks towards the southern side that Saudi Arabia is probably going to be able to take. But before all that happens, Tulika has to find a safe spot, and he barely finds something. Is it going to be enough? No, it isn't. Axel from up top picks himself, I think, the second frag, yes, for him in that round. 12 eliminations at the moment for Indonesia.
Doing it again.
We've just had a round where they had 18, and they are potentially to do it again.
When I said Indonesia had the chance to close the gap towards some of the top positions here, I was kind of laughing at myself for saying that right after. I was like, there's no way, right? There's no way they do this again. There's no way they can pull it off. But right now they are farming, and they're coming out of their compound as well. They're not just sitting in a gifted position. They are taking the fights to their opposition now. They've got their eyes on Saudi Arabia. They've already decimated them to 3, making their game a whole lot easier. And they have 2 Turkey players on their southern edge, and they've dealt with the solo as well. They are just dominating this right now. They'll have to leave. They'll have to put themselves a little bit into the open here. But I think their manpower should be enough to carry them through this.
Should be. This actually is completely absurd. I don't think we've seen something like this. A comeback from one of the teams that hasn't done... Okay, this is an over-exaggeration, but let's just put it that way to make it more dramatic. That hasn't done anything in this tournament. And they come out like this, 18 frags, 13 frags. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. You have to have the skill before that. And it's not zones either. That's the crazy part. Usually it's zones that have a say in this. This has not been the zone whatsoever. It's just Indonesia playing incredibly well.
I love to see it. Right now, this is going to be their biggest challenge. They've got a 3-man and a duo eyeing them down. And they don't really have crazy cover to play with anymore. They're looking for some rocks. They're looking for some ground. They're not even going for the res. They're going to let Kausa bleed out here. I think that's potentially a bit of a misstep, but they feel so much under pressure that they don't want to get these reses. And there was the nades coming through from Turkey as well. They were looking to punish any overcommitment. Now, 3v3, v2. And this is much more open than I thought it would be. Saudi Arabia consolidating as well. When they were losing a member and they didn't know where to go, I thought this might be the end for them. But now they're looking almost okay, and this zone has gone all the way south. This is not a thing of beauty for Indonesia at all.
No, it really isn't. And I was saying that I think the advantage might be on Saudi, because you see there's a couple of rocks, there's a couple of trees in there, and there's this little bit of area that is a little higher up. You can see it right here. The ridgeline that iesl is looking at, that's a little higher up, and that denies them a lot of sidelines. Not only Turkey, but also on Saudi Arabia. And that's, ooh, that might spice things up. It's Catch taking down one of the Saudi Arabian players. It's suddenly down to a 2v2v3. Is he going to get rest?
I think this is going to be absolutely massive, because Indonesia really has the chance to decide who wins this game here. Whoever they aggress is going to have a hard time. Now Saudi Arabia down to 2. If Indonesia decide, well, we're flying into the weaker team, we're flying into Saudi Arabia here to get a playable spot in this circle, then suddenly this is super winnable for Turkey. This is not off the cards at all here, Felix. They might walk away with the chicken dinner here if just a few things go right their way, or just 1 or 2 more knocks for them.
That would be completely absurd. We've just seen a Ukraine win. Maybe Turkey could back it off with a win on their own. That would make things so much more spicy on the overall leaderboard. Much more exciting than we predicted the start of this tournament going to be. Randy pulls up on the ridgeline now. Turkey, they have a little bit of breathing room still, but it's going to come down any second now. The blue zone is right on their backs.
They're toying with this, they're looking, they're trying to figure out where to play, they're baiting some of the util as well. Rendy has to be careful to not drive into that one though, and Kesh wants to make a play. Kesh wants to grab one of these frags right now. He's peeking on over, he's going to go aggressive here. He wants to close this out. They don't want to stay inside that ridge. Damage comes in with the shotgun. Can he turn it around? He needs 1 bullet to land, but it's Saudi from the other side. The trades are all coming in, but none of it are going the way of Indonesia. It's not looking good. Saudi Arabia might be picking this one up here, Felix.
But it's a 1v1v1. I don't think we've ever seen this in the grand finals, and suddenly Solis takes him down. Saudi Arabia will take third place, and it is not meant to be for them, but it's far from over for Indonesia and Turkey at the same time, because 3 players are potentially left standing for Indonesia, and that 1v1 might be brought back to a 2v1.
Oh, he's pushing it now. He's trying to force the issue. Comes around the rock. 1v2. Vazriel over the top, and he does take it. Indonesia back to back double digits. Wow. They keep Ukraine in the running by just dominating the lobby themselves.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm going to put it out there again, just for the sake of sounding dramatic. They have not done anything in this tournament up until this point. Now they come out like this? Are you kidding me? Who are we? Who are we to say anything